Early Christianity was centered on the relationship between God and the individual. And after centuries of persecuting Christians, Rome created the Catholic Church, declared it the state religion, and changed the Christian doctrine. Practicing Christianity was now legal so long as it was Catholic. There is clear evidence that every people have had their religion subverted from the truth, but none more egregiously than the Muslim. Before there was any such thing as Islam, there were Sufi Muslims, and they lived in relative harmony amongst Christians and Jews. The Sufi way was similar to that of early Christianity. It taught that a personal relationship with God was not only achievable by the individual, but it was essential. The Sufi poets were philosophers sharing knowledge and ideas with the community. And they always described the Prophet Muhammad as a wise man of admirable temperament, similar to how the Christians described Christ. Hundreds of years later, a much different version of Muhammad was put forth by a priest class engaged in the bloodiest conquest of their time. They published and distributed the Quran and the Hadith and claimed they were the absolute word of God. A written ideology forced upon all Muslims that allows an unelected priest class to dictate the word of God and outlaw all opposing views. The Quran was accused of plagiarizing Sufi poems, and Sufi Muslims were naturally reluctant to accept the clerics as middlemen between themselves and God. But Islam had zero tolerance for any opposition. Libraries were burned, Sufis were killed, and Muslims were subjugated under the new law. Islam was brutal from the start. The Quran itself describes how people would pretend to be with Islam because they feared being killed. According to Islam, Muhammad himself had dozens killed for criticizing him. Many use the words extreme Islam or radical Islam to describe Islamic terrorism. But a better choice of words would be fundamentalist Islam. Because if you accept the Quran to be the literal word of God, as Islam commands, then waging terror and jihad upon non-Muslims is absolutely the highest path. Even the most respected Muslim scholars agree that the final chapter of the Quran abrogates all else, and the final chapter tells Muslims to fight Jews and Christians until they submit as willing slaves. According to the Hadith, Muhammad loved jihad so much that he prayed to be reincarnated so that he could fight and die over and over again. According to the Quran and Hadith, suicidal terrorists who kill non-Muslims are the heroes of Islam. The Quran teaches that Muslims are superior to all others, and that Jews and Christians are the worst of creatures. It teaches that women are mentally deficient. It teaches Muslims to punish non-Muslims, make enemies with them, and wage war against them. The Quran tells us that Allah granted Muslims the right to rape women and own sex slaves, including children who have not yet reached puberty. According to Islam, the Islamic migrants in Europe who are violently gang-raping young non-Muslim women are good Muslims. According to Islam, Muhammad would approve. He would join in. Islamic men in Germany today all seem to agree that women who are not covered deserve to be raped. Is this what it means to be Muslim? The Hadith teaches us that portraying oneself to be the victim is a psychological warfare tactic best utilized in jihad when you are outnumbered, which is why we endlessly hear about Islam being persecuted. But the truth is, Islam has been the world's biggest persecutor for 1,400 years. Here are some sobering statistics. Christians living in a Muslim country are 143 times more likely to be killed by a Muslim than a Muslim is by a Christian living in a Christian country. One Christian is killed for jihad every 6 minutes. Approximately 270 million non-Muslims have been killed by Islam in the last 1,400 years. 270 million souls who chose not to submit to Islam. This is more bloodshed than communism, Nazism, both world wars, the Mongol conquests, and the European colonization of the Americas combined. The subject of Islam has nothing to do with race. Anyone can submit to Islam. Islam is an ideology, and so long as it exists, decent fundamentalist Muslims will be swayed to rape and murder in the name of Allah. What could be more evil than that? To Muslims, I would ask, is this your religion of peace? Or has your true religion been subverted?